In this video, I'm going to share exactly how to create a winning info product offer in 2025. These are the exact market research strategies and offer creation strategies that we've utilized for our clients to generate multi-seven figures. As you can see right here, these are some of our client wins. You can see 300K in a month right here, 150K in a month right here, 80K in a week right there, 133K in a month right there, 150K. Just keep going on and on. I think there's one for 230K right there. Just kind of give you an idea, but let's jump straight into it. If you guys know who I am, my name is Sawyer Verts. I've been running my info agency for about a year now. If you have an info product or are looking to scale your own info product, there's a link somewhere in the description. Click that, apply to work with me. Very selective with who we bring on, but let's jump into it. First and foremost is gonna be market research. Before you create anything, you need to make sure that there's a very hungry market for whatever it is that you're offering. And so when it comes to info products, there's three core categories that you should be considering whenever you're thinking about launching your own offer. The three categories is gonna be health, wealth, and relationships. So in terms of health, that can be fitness, weight loss, mental health, recovery, like just improving the longevity of your life and improving the health that you have in your life. Wealth is gonna be more business, make money online, biz op opportunities. And then relationships is gonna be more dating, marriage, like just dating coaching, all that kind of stuff, how to get girls, right? But after you kind of figure out what your core category is gonna be, then you need to dig deeper into your niche. So you need to figure out your specific audience, and you need to have a very specific measurable outcome that you can provide to that specific audience with a clear mechanism on how you're able to do that, right? So kind of breaking that down, the first step is going to be finding your demographic and finding your ICP. You're finding your very specific audience on who exactly you want to target. So this kind of breaks down into figuring out their age range, their gender, their income level, where they are in their world, the kind of like perceptions that they have on life, their the psychology that they have. And after you kind of have an understanding of that, you're going to be creating content that's going to be speaking to that one specific person. So this will come through, YouTube content, Instagram content, TikTok content, etc. And then based on the demographic that you get with your ideal customer profile, you want to be making content that just directly speaks to that one specific person. So in terms of the ICP, you want to be figuring out the psychographics that they have. Essentially, their interests, their values, their pain points, their frustrations, their fears, their desires. Essentially, what's going to motivate them to take that first step and take that first point of action. And this is going to be really, really beneficial for you, and especially in the marketing processes that are going to come later on, because it's going to teach you the angles that you need to take on running ads, on running VSLs, on the confirmation VSLs to build more urgency, on just the best practices that you can integrate in your marketing standpoints to be attracting that one specific ICP. After you have a clear layout of like who your perfect person is, what their interests are, what their values are, how old are they, how much money do they make, all that kind of stuff, then it's gonna be kind of going into providing proof for that person, right? So people need to trust you in your ability to deliver before they're ever ready to purchase from you. And so this is gonna come from past results, it can be your own results or client results. It's gonna come from documenting your journey, and at the same time, just like positioning yourself as the authority within your niche, whether it be health, wealth, relationships, but giving value that position yourself as the authority, as the go-to person within your niche. And a very good way to do this as well is gonna be through case studies and testimonials. It just builds proof, shows that you know what you're fucking talking about, and you can provide the results that you say you can. Next is gonna be going into the unique angle and the differentiation that you have for your offer. So it's gonna be essentially fine-tuning and figuring out what it is that makes you stand out from your competitors. In an ideal situation, it isn't gonna be based on price. You don't wanna be the cheapest person in your market, because typically that means you're gonna be the worst person in your market. You aren't able to provide the results that other people can, that people are paying 10 times more. There's offers out there that people will pay 50 grand, 100 grand, 200 grand for, because it provides immense value. And so the way that you stand out is gonna be through three core things. It's gonna be through speed, ease, and access. By speed, it's how fast they can actually get to the result they want to achieve. By ease, it's how easily they can achieve that result, and how effortless it's going to be. And then access is the insider methods, the methodology that you're utilizing that nobody else really utilizes, and you can integrate for the mentees that you have inside. So once you kind of combine your method, your persona, your proof, and your branded system as the unique mechanism that your mentee needs to get from point A to point B as efficiently as possible, then it comes out to crafting the actual offer. You have a good idea of the perfect person that you want to target, the values that they have, the psychological pain points that they have. And there's a lot of different ways you can even go about asking questions to figure out what your kind of ICP is. For example, what is your dream client in vivid detail? Include things like their age, their gender, their lifestyle. What is your perfect client complain about when they're with their friends or their family? Do they not have enough money? Do they not have enough time? Do they not have enough resources in general? And then the more important part is what is their most urgent and pressing crisis that they want solved right away? What is the biggest pain point in their life that they've been struggling with for X amount of time that they need to fix? Otherwise, they're going to be stuck in the same shitty situation for the next X amount of years, right? So these are the three core questions that you need to be asking to kind of figure out your ICP. And a lot of these obviously are internal questions, but you can also use external resources, whether it be people within your audience, and try and figure out and gauge an understanding of the most common pain points so you can craft your offer to solve that exact pain point. And so when it comes to crafting the actual offer, there's 3 different types of offers that you can craft: a low ticket, mid ticket, and a high ticket offer. We'll start with low ticket. So these are typically going to be either monthly recurring offers, or they're going to be one-time offers that range anywhere from $7 all the way up to $200, $500 even. And the whole point of these is going to be building a community. I would say that's the biggest point when it comes to launching a low ticket. It's a lot of maintenance work, and it definitely is a little bit harder to set up because you need a lot more people inside to make a good amount of money. But with a low ticket offer, it would include community access. It would include course and different product material in the sense of SOPs and training. You can also include weekly group coaching calls, but that's kind of up to your discretion. And next is going to be mid-ticket. These are offers that are anywhere from $1,000 to $4,000. Typically, they'll include some form of group coaching calls, community access, very similar to the low ticket. They'll have a lot of the same deliverables, but it's just going to be added on top, and then also having some sort of live coaching aspect to where people can jump in, they can ask live questions, they can ask Q&As to the offer owner or other coaches inside of the program, get feedback, get advice, and really just get to that next level. These can be hosted on WAP, on Fanbases, Kajabi. There's a ton of different platforms that you can host on. I guess Fanbases is more for processing, but a ton of different platforms you can host these on. And then moving on to high ticket, this is honestly where a lot of the money is gonna be made. You have amazing margins, but the only thing is that your fulfillment is often gonna be capped based on the amount of time that you have available too. And so these are gonna be offers that are anywhere from about 3 to 4K all the way up to 20, 50, 100, 200K even, depending on exactly what they're going to get access to. And so I would host a lot of these on either WAP, Kajabi, Teachable is another good one. But this is going to include, again, group coaching, having that clear transformation, that unique mechanism. But more importantly, having some sort of one-on-one access to whether it be you or other coaches, it's an amazing value proposition that you can provide to your mentees, and I really recommend it. I have a lot of my clients providing one-on-one access, doing group coaching as well, and they make an absolute killing. It doesn't require too much input, but it definitely is very personalized. You don't want to be getting into a program that's shitty and you aren't getting the results that you want because you aren't getting the information that you need. That's why one-on-one calls with somebody who knows what the fuck they're talking about, has been able to get very, very good results for themselves and knows how to replicate that for other people. Just a no-brainer, right? Now, I will say, no info offer is going to be complete without both a low ticket and a high ticket offer. Mid-ticket offer is an amazing add-on as well, just to kind of go after the demographic that might not necessarily have the money to get into high ticket, but they want some more advanced training than the low ticket offer. So I really recommend having 3 offers at any point in time where they have different tiers of access to the information, tiers of access to you, and tiers of access to the proprietary systems that you have built. Now, info is amazing. It's honestly one of the best business models that you can be in at the moment, an amazing cash flow business. But one of the best things you can do on top of that is funnel a lot of the people that are getting inside of your program into some sort of software that gives them benefit and also allows you to make conditional money off of them. We'll build up exit value as well and equity in an actual business that can be exited. And so what this looks like is having some sort of software tool that pairs very nicely with the info offer that you have on top of that. I'll give you a good example. So, I've been talking with this company Poppy.ai, and they have a software where it's essentially if MyRoboard and the what I'm using right now and ChatGPT, if they had a baby, that's what I would describe it as. Okay, so you can upload videos, you can upload reels, you can upload Google Drive folders and attach it to a chatbot, and it will essentially use all that context and all that information when you're asking the chatbot questions. And so we're actually working on, this is obviously the core offers, the software itself, but we're actually working on kind of reversing it and introducing info into that. But the info and software combination, it works like an absolute charm. If you want to make millions and millions and millions of dollars, this is what you need to do. But I would have this pricing, you can have it anywhere from $19 bucks a month to $1,000 a month. I've seen, softwares all the way up to $10K a month. Like, it really varies, but the biggest thing is having some sort of SaaS or software that pairs very nicely and only benefits the people that are inside the info and vice versa. The info should benefit off the people that are in the SaaS, and then vice versa, the people that are in the info should benefit off the SaaS as well. In terms of also deliverables, like, you can include this into your deliverables and just kind of as that as an add-on. For example, in the high ticket offer, on top of the group coaching, on top of the one-on-one coaching, on top of the unique mechanism, the video course, the SOP docs and everything like that you're gonna be providing, also giving them free access to the software for X amount of time, and then they have to start paying. But it's a really, really good way to build up a ton of equity in a new business and provide even more value for the current mentees that you have inside. I really see a big shift happening in the info space right now, where if you don't have some sort of SaaS involved in your offer, you're gonna be obsolete very, very soon. It's a big thing that I've been integrating a lot of, into a lot of my offers. We have a TikTok shop offer where we're building out a SaaS right now, and we have other SaaSes kind of integrated into it that we provide as other deliverables, and it works like an absolute charm. It makes their life, the mentees that get inside, it makes their life super easy, right? But when it comes to having your core offer, there's a handful of core elements that go into it. So first is obviously going to have your big promise. When you're speaking to your ICP, having a very clear, specific, and desirable transformation that you're able to allow that ICP to achieve, as long as they put the work in and they show up and they hold your hand throughout the way. And then it's going to be having a unique mechanism. So this is kind of like the proprietary software or process or system that you utilize that makes you different from your competitors, that allows you to get the results that you get, right? After that is going to be the actual deliverables. So these are the tangible items that you're providing to your mentees, whether it be video course structure, SOPs, systems, processes. It could be just like an ebook, for example. It could be group coaching, one-on-one coaching, software access. Like, it's essentially all the items and processes that they're going to get access to achieve that desirable result. You can also include some bonuses. I like to do this. It kind of makes the sale a little bit easier, if you will, where you have small little bonuses that solve common core problems. Let's say you run an info offer that helps people scale. Helps people get into growth operating, right? A very good core deliverable could be access to my inflow of inbound leads that I get from my agency that I can provide to you. So you're able to get influx of leads without having to do outreach, without having to build your own personal brand. That would be an amazing bonus, as an example, right? Next to me, the scarcity and urgency that you're building within your actual offer, and this is going to come a lot in the actual marketing processes in place, in the ad creatives, in the VSL, in the confirmation VSLs, in the breakup videos that you have in your confirmation pages, in the setting processes, in the closing processes. There's so many different ways that you can go about building scarcity and urgency in the prospect's mind, but the best way to do it is honestly just having true urgency and true scarcity. Instead of saying that you have 5 spots for the rest of the month, only have 5 spots. Obviously, some of that might cap your income, but it's going to make the demand for your offer so much greater, especially if you do it properly. And last but not least is having some sort of risk reversal, where if they join, if they show up, if they put in every single ounce of work they should, and they don't see the result that they want, what happens in that situation, right? So let's say, you have an offer, it's a 6-month program, somebody comes in, they do every single thing they tell you to do, and they aren't able to make their money back by the end of the 6 months. You should have some sort of risk reversal, some sort of guarantee that essentially makes it a no-brainer for them to where it's risk-free, right? You kind of want to frame it in a way where, let's say your risk reversal is, it's a 4-month program. If you come inside by the end of the 4 months, if you don't make your money back, we will give you a full refund, okay? In the prospect mind, you can kind of frame it to where they envision it as if they're putting that $4,000 or however much money into a different bank account that they can't touch for 4 months, okay? And by worst case situation, by the end of the 4 months, they can just pull that $4,000 right back out. But in the best case situation, that $4,000 can turn into, continual income on a monthly basis as long as they show up and they put the work in. Now, obviously, transparently, you're selling air. You aren't selling anything tangible. You aren't selling, anything physical. It's digital, it's information. So the information has to be really fucking good to get your client the result they want. And you need to essentially frame it in a way and craft your offer and your deliverables in a way that if somebody was brain dead and was brand new and was, had zero foundations, as long as they did X, Y, and Z, they could achieve the same result that you're able to achieve. Now, after you have your promise, your unique mechanism, you have your deliverables, your bonuses, your scarcity, and your risk reversal, next you're gonna be testing it. And when the best way to launch an offer is not gonna do a full out launch, it's gonna be validating your offer first. And so the way that I do this is I'll get 5 to 10 people inside at very discounted prices. These are kind of like beta customers. Let's say when you do your full out launch, you wanna sell it at 8K, you would get 5 to 10 people inside for $5,000 or whatever, $6,000 for example, right? And the biggest focus for those people is you wanna get them the best results as quickly as possible. And the reason that is because the results you're gonna get is gonna be a lot of your testimonials, a lot of your case studies, a lot of your social proof moving forward. And then you wanna analyze why did they buy, what would they pay more for, and what almost stopped them from purchasing in the first place, so you can create marketing material to go after those common objections. And a very good way to even just go after those common objections, there's 2 strategies that we utilize. And I'll cover a lot of this in another video as well. One strategy that we utilize it's called Hammer Them Ad strategy, where if you know Jeremy Haynes, he's a fucking goat. He kind of put me onto that. Where after somebody books a call, inside of the metapixel, you're targeting those call books and essentially making it so they're getting bombarded with information and social proof and case studies and reframes of limiting beliefs and reframes of common objections they're going to have. That's one really good strategy that we utilize across our offers. Another really good strategy is having breakup videos. And what breakup videos are is 2 to 10 minute videos. They just answer FAQs, they answer common questions, they solve common objections. And we typically will include those on our call confirmation page. So after somebody books a call, they'll get sent to a call confirmation page. It has a confirmation VSL that builds urgency and it frames the call. It will have breakup videos that show 10 to 15 breakup videos that answer FAQs and it solves objections. And then we'll have testimonials and case studies as well that shows how achievable the results actually are. And that's exactly how to create a winning info product offer in 2025. If you found this video useful, leave a like, subscribe, and if you run an info product and need help scaling your info product to multi-6 figures per month, there should be a link below. Click that link, apply to work with me. I am very selective with who we bring on. We don't work with everybody. We want to make sure that you're a good fit for us as much as we are a good fit for you. But if you need help scaling your offer, you know what to do. Click that link below. I hope you found this video useful. A ton of more bangers coming out soon. Stay tuned.